wrestling's become very popular recently. Like I subscribe to Flow Sports and they have Flow Wrestling, Flow MMA, Flow Grappling on there. And guys are they can make good money now coaching and coaching wrestling and club teams and doing these wrestling events. I watched Ono and Lee last week live. I watched tape delay, but I watched it. Like there were some amazing matches with these guys doing freestyle stuff. It was Flow Wrestling Night in America, I think is what they're calling it. So they're doing great things. There's these great little films that they're producing to show, historic things about wrestling and certain wrestlers. Um, so there's money to be made, right? So these guys are like, hey, I can make a good living doing what I love without getting punched in the face. So that's one of the things. Another point, you can look at jujitsu and no-gi jiu-jitsu. And not that many of those guys are crossing over anymore either, because now there's money to be made just grappling. They don't have to get punched in the face anymore either to try to make money. They don't have to try to legitimize themselves in a fight. They can just be grapplers. Gordon Ryan, perfect example. He doesn't have to, back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, everybody would have been up his ass about getting into the cage. No one even, I don't know anybody who's even talking about it. Just let him keep wrestling. Let him keep doing his submission stuff. Plenty of guys like that. Nicky Rod, like all those other guys who are around. Like, is there a big push for those guys to be fighting? Like, I don't see that many Mundial champions coming in to the fight game anymore either. They're staying in jujitsu. They're staying in their gi. They can make plenty of money teaching and competing and just grappling. And the third point with why that's happening is because the UFC can get those guys for so cheap,
The Eastern
right?
European guys, you mean?
Yes, they
Yeah.
can get them for so cheap. And I have heard on two different occasions where fighters lost fights because the Dovs said they would take the fight for way less money. You had one guy, I won't get into who, but there was like one guy's making 40 and 40, the other guy's making 50 and 50, and they're trying to get into, I think, the PFL, one of the PFL tournament matches. And then one of the Dobbs comes up and says, I'll do it for 10.
Yeah, Miguel was saying that the money that the UFC pays for an American wrestler probably not a big deal, but for these guys from Eastern Europe, that money's important and they want it.
Yep. Yep.
You know, it is interesting. And I also think a lot of American wrestlers they come into the UFC and they don't want to wrestle anymore. They just kind of want to fight standing up and